Hi. It's Amaya again with a little update on what's been going on in my life so far. With all of the turn of events over the past year and a half, it's been quite the whirlwind, I have to say. But with all of the ups and downs I've had to endure, no matter the highs and the lows, I did meet the love of my life here. I'll start from where I left off. I know most people think that, once you find out you're a rich heiress, all of your troubles are behind you. But that couldn't be further from the truth. In all honesty, that's when all of the troubles began. For one, I quickly learned my previous education I received in the States as a humanities and social sciences major wasn't going to get me anywhere, given my recent turn of events. So my attorney suggested I consider a change in major that includes business administration and to minor in some sort of technology. I was most definitely going to have an accelerated crash course ahead of me. First, I needed to learn the language. At this point, though I'm not as proficient as I'd like to be, I can get by with what I've learned so far. Each day is a learning curve for me. But I'm always up for a good challenge. Second, I had to enroll in one of the top universities, without revealing my true identity. That was more difficult than I even imagined, but with the help of my team of attorneys, this feat was finally accomplished. Still, it wasn't my professional or academic life that was giving me trouble, but my personal life. All of the years I've grown up in the States, I knew I was different. Everyone else around me knew I was different. But still, I was a part of it even as an exotic, ambiguous, can't quite put my finger on it person. But in a homogeneous society, you'll always be a foreigner. I don't mind, of course, even if I have to lay some temporary roots here because of my current situation. I know I will always be an outsider. Although my reception is pretty benign and accepting for the most part. I found I truly loved it here and the people. Which is why, when I met my current boyfriend, Jackson, there was a social environment that was completely unique to anything I ever had to deal with thus far. "You look confused," Jackson said as he walked to my table to peer down at what I was reading. I have to admit, I was so engrossed in trying to understand the technical jargon, I must have looked dazed and confused to anyone observing me. "Oh. Hi. I finally said when I snapped out of it. He lifted the book from the table and read it. A small smile came to his lips, but his brows furrowed slightly. "Why would this be so perplexing to you? I assume if you're in this course you have some rudimentary technology experience. This is Technology 101. That's easy for you to say. In my other life I wanted to be a psychologist," I said to myself. But there was no point in saying it to him. Revealing that would require more backstory than I was willing to share with a stranger. And that's how we first met. He offered to tutor me, free of charge. And not long after, we began dating. I was so focused at the time, I hadn't noticed he had been watching me for months. But that day he said he finally got up enough nerve to approach me. And it worked. We've been inseparable ever since. Like two peas in a pod. But I always knew I was going to go back to the States eventually, so I thought it was just something fun to do, kill some time, so to speak. Yet, the more I spent time with him, the more I began to realize it was going to be much harder than I originally imagined it to be. I was falling in love with him. He was sweet, kind and very considerate of my feelings. But because I was so busy, I was thankful he wasn't the clingy type. Nor was I with him, which he appreciated immensely. It was just that some days I was too busy to see him. And even though I knew he was disappointed, he would just say, "Next time, maybe." Jackson was equally as busy. He and a few college buddies were developing some sort of medical technology. When I asked about it, he wouldn't go into detail, citing it was a trade secret. Then we'd both laugh and I'd say, "Next time, maybe." On a rare day we both had nothing to do, he announced he wanted me to meet someone. He didn't go into much detail. I thought it would be a few of his college friends, but when he said, "Don't be nervous," I suddenly became nervous. "What do you mean, don't be nervous?" Now I can't help myself. "Who are we going to meet?" I asked, clearly nervous now. "I want you to meet my family." But it's nothing formal, so you can be at ease, he quickly explained before I declined the offer. Why would you spring this on me now? How can you say it so casually? Should I bring something? Yeah, I was definitely nervous. And though he assured me it was nothing formal about our visit, I still felt anxious about it. Yet, as he explained, it was quite informal. Right away, his mother ran out and greeted us when she saw his car pull up into the gravel drive. The house was quite modest, but very well taken care of, and neat. It could use a new coat of paint, but the small garden in the yard was enough to detract you from the small details of a few missing shingles and chipped paint. You could tell his parents took pride in it. His mother was quite warm and nice. I remember thinking he must have taken after her. He had the same qualities as her. Gentle, accommodating and loving. But his father, that was another story. The moment we walked into the house, his cold reception made me look to Jackson, a shocked expression on my face. Like, what the heck? Immediately I knew I wasn't welcomed, but it was already too late. I was already here and had to make the best of the situation. Jackson and his mother looked embarrassed, but they tried to play it off for my sake, or their own. I'm really not sure which. Quickly they ushered me into another room in the back of the house and left the father sitting and watching TV in the front. Don't mind him. He's always like that, Jackson whispered as we made our way through the cramped winding rooms. It felt like I was in a maze of some sort. Soon, we were entering another room in the back of the house. It was a larger, more spacious room, but very plain and sparsely decorated. Nina. Are you here? I have someone I want you to meet, Jackson called out. Where else would I be? I could hear a young girl's voice saying playfully from the other side of the divider. Hold on. Give me a sec. When she finally wheeled herself to our side, Jackson quickly scooped her up and swung her around in a tight loving bear hug. Her giggles were contagious. When she laughed, there was something inside you that wanted to laugh with her. Then her leg flew across the room. I literally yelped out loud from the sight. What is that? It wasn't long before Jackson learned his error and put his sister back into her wheelchair and ran to collect it. His sister, mortified, screamed for me to get out of her room. Get out! Get out, she kept yelling. I quickly ran back through the labyrinth and into the front room with his father. His father, hearing the commotion from the other room, sprang from his chair and glared at me. Are you bullying my daughter? How dare you come in my house and treat her that way? Get out of my house. You're not welcomed here. No, I wasn't bullying her. I was just surprised is all. I didn't mean to hurt her feelings. Really? I managed to stumble out. His father continued to yell at me, do you think you can come to our house and look down on us? Do you think you're better than us? You wait and see, my son will be a famous inventor and he'll become rich. Then we'll see who's looking down on who. Now, get out of my house. Apparently my feet wouldn't move fast enough. I was stuck in place. I was just in so much shock. But he pushed me with so much force I stumbled a few steps forward. But still, I wasn't moving fast enough for him because he followed me and pushed me again, this time making me fall off the porch and land into the gravel yard. Dad! What are you doing? It's not her fault, Jackson called out. Get her out of here and I don't ever want to see her face again. Ever. His father said while pointing to me on the ground. And you better never think to date her because she'll never be accepted in this family. Do you hear me? Now. Go. The ride back was awkward. I held back my tears and Jackson managed to contain the anger that was seething just beneath the surface. At the time, I didn't know if he was angry with me or his father. Either way, this didn't bode well for any future we might have wanted with each other. So we just remained silent on our long trip back into the city. When we reached my destination I got out without saying a word. I'm sorry, I slammed the door on his words. A few weeks passed and we kept our distance from each other. I'll admit I was feeling a bit hurt, but because we were both so busy, it didn't take long for the regular cadence of our lives to take precedence to help numb the pain. Amaya. I looked to hear who was calling my name. Nina. Is that you? I asked while walking over to her. What brings you here? Are you looking for your brother? No. I was looking for you. But don't tell him I was here. Okay. What can I help you with? Can you forgive my brother? I know I overreacted. I was just embarrassed, she said while she put her head down. I know it wasn't your fault what happened. It must have startled you. Even with her head held down, I could see she let out a little snicker of laughter. Which made me want to join in, and I did. Why are you laughing? I asked, but she did lighten the mood a little. I was just imagining if it were me and I saw someone's leg fly across the room. How would I react? She let out another soft giggle. I probably would have done the same as you. Though Nina was young, she was old enough to recognize love when she saw it. And she was also very mature for her age as well. She had come to find me and apologize for how her overreaction caused an unintended chain of events that hurt both me and Jackson. She went on to explain how when she was much younger, she lost her leg in a freak accident. An accident Jackson felt responsible for because he was watching her while their parents were away at work. He never forgave himself for it and spent all his time studying and learning so he could one day make it up to her. This was his driving force through life. It was through this conversation when I got a glimpse into the top-secret mission her brother had been working on. He was trying to develop medical technology for a prosthetic leg for his little sister. It was something he had been developing since high school. It was the reason for his current major in university. Nina confessed that, if Jackson brought me to his house to meet his family, I must be someone special to him. He had never done that with anyone before. So she pleaded with me to forgive him and give him another chance. But a thought came to me and she agreed to get what he had been working on and bring it to me. Because I was now the CEO of one of the top technology companies in the country, I wanted to see if there was something I could do to help him reach his goal and help his sister walk again. That was the least I could do for him after what happened between us. What I've learned instead was, no matter the best laid plans, it doesn't always work out the way you envision it. Nina called me in a panic. She sounded frantic and anxious over the phone. I'm so sorry. I messed up. My father caught me and forced me to tell him what I was doing. I couldn't lie to him. He's on his way there now. What? Okay. Don't panic. It's not your fault. I shouldn't have asked you to do that, it's my fault. As soon as I hung up the phone I could see him charging towards me. I didn't have time to think before I felt a hard sting across my face. You're a thief. How could you? The father yelled so loud he brought attention to us. But all I could do was hold my stinging face and stare at him. When he was about to hit me again, Jackson grabbed his arm and pushed him away. Dad! What are you doing? Don't try to protect her. I caught her red-handed. All of your hard work, all of it. She was trying to get her greedy hands on it. Ask her. Jackson looked at me. What is my father talking about? I asked Nina to get the information for what you were developing. I know I was wrong asking her, but I wasn't trying to steal it. I wanted to know if I could help you. That's all, I promise. It's a misunderstanding. How? How could this be a misunderstanding? I've been working on this for years. I'm trying to find a company that can make a prototype right now. And you're trying to steal it. All of my hard work. Jackson looked incredulous. I trusted you. Hell, I even fell in love with you. I couldn't wait to share it with you. But now. I told you, son. But you didn't want to listen to me. I knew she was money hungry the moment I saw her. His father then looked to me. You shameless gold digger. Stay away from my family. 2 months later, I asked my attorneys to find out more about this project. None of the other companies wanted to deal with it. More because they were too busy competing with each other and didn't have the time or resources to invest. There were only a handful that had enough capital to do it, mine being one. So I instructed them to send a letter showing interest in the project. Because my assistant, who was my father's trusted assistant all of those years before me, was capable of running things without me, I rarely went into the office. I was still just a student and I wanted to come when my experience and knowledge was up to par. Still, everyone knew me when I came. It couldn't be helped. Your appointment is here. They're in your office, my secretary said as I made my way to the office. They were both fixing each other's tie and telling the other to act normal and professional when I opened the door. Both father and son spun around to see who was coming in. As soon as they recognized me, Jackson looked happy, but it quickly turned to hurt, then confusion. But his father's countenance was stoic. Stern even. His jaw clenched when he saw me. "Do you want to slap me again?" I asked this as I walked around the desk and took my seat. My assistant handed me the folder with their information. I took it and excused him from the meeting. "What's the meaning of this?" "We're here to see the CEO." "What kind of game are you pulling here?" his father yelled. "You did, huh? Well, why do you think I would be sitting in the CEO's chair?" I was tapping my fingers on the folder the assistant left behind. It was at that moment it hit him. His mouth flew open, then shut. As soon as the realization dawned, he fell to his knees in front of my desk. "Forgive me. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I thought you were only with him to take advantage of him. Jackson is kind-hearted and too soft. I thought I was protecting him. Please, accept my apology." I was so surprised by this, I jumped up from my chair and ran around the desk to make him get up. "What are you doing? Get up." I looked to Jackson to help me convince his father to stand, but he fell on his knees next to his father, head held down. "What the heck? Both of you, get up." Although I knew inviting them was a power play on my part, I just wanted them to know I didn't have any ill intentions for secretly requesting Jackson's work. And from what I was told, it was a very innovative project for us to get involved with. It had the potential for being trendsetting. It was business at the end of the day. Yet, on a more personal note, I truly wanted to help Jackson reach his goals. And also to help his sister Nina be able to walk again on her own without the discomfort and awkwardness of using an ill-fitting prosthetic leg that was either too large or too small. I may not have gone about it in the most responsible way, but in the end there was no harm, no foul. No surprise, Jackson accepted our offer. I was ecstatic because that meant I got a chance to work with him again. Well, this time he was working for me. But it also gave me the hands-on knowledge and experience needed to learn the type of technology one would be dealing with in the future. Over time, having to work closely on this project together, Jackson and I fell into our normal comfortable routine we had become so accustomed to, and it wasn't long before we started dating again, but secretly this time. In the past, his father didn't want to accept me because he believed me to be a money-grubbing opportunist. But ironically, this time he now believes I'm a stuck-up snob, born with a silver spoon in my mouth. So yeah, we'll keep it a secret. For now.
Thanks for listening to my story. Come back for more stories and help our channel grow. Bye.